When Eddie Munson swooped into Stranger Things Season 4, he won us all over. We met a lot of new faces throughout the seasons of Stranger Things, but one guy really got the spotlight shining, and he is the head of the Hellfire Club at Hawkins High School. Stepped up to help our heroes, but sadly didn't make it to survive Vecna. Yes, he is our very own Eddie. In this video, we're going to tell you that we're heading back to Hawkins sooner than you think. Not for another season, but for another Stranger Things prequel of Eddie Munson's past life. And if you want to know more about this prequel, the title, the story, if Eddie will be back on Season 5, and many, many more, keep watching Stranger Things announces Eddie Munson prequel story. You don't want to miss this. What is the title of the prequel? They've just shown us the cover art for an upcoming novel that all Stranger Things junkies will want to grab. Entertainment Weekly said that our favorite oddball metalhead, Eddie, is getting his own Stranger Things prequel in a novel. The brain behind this book is Caitlin Schneiderhan, who's deeply in charge of the scriptwriting business for Season 5. The book goes by the title Flight of Icarus, and it traces the journey of Eddie chasing his rock star dreams with his band, Corroded Coffin, before he tosses his cap in the air at Hawkins High graduation. But the catch is that his old man's shady business keeps tripping him. So basically, this page-turner is at 2 years before the mind-bending events of Season 4. The synopsis of Flight of Icarus. You won't believe this. Keep watching. Hawkins, Indiana seems like your average picture-perfect American town, right? But for our buddy Eddie Munson, it feels more like being trapped in a never-ending tomb of horrors. High school for him is just a ticking clock with Dungeons & Dragons sessions with the Hellfire Club and jamming with his band as the only sweet escape. And at the shabbiest watering hole in town, Eddie bumps into Paige. And she's done the unthinkable, bolted from Hawkins and molded a seriously rad life in Los Angeles, working with some record producer Hotshot. Paige is all sorts of cool, a total trailblazer with sickeningly good taste in music. And she might be the first person who gets Eddie. Saw something in him rather than a poster boy for all things evil. She's dangling a golden ticket for Eddie to make a name for himself. All he has to do is hand over a demo tape of Corroded Coffin's finest tunes. But studio time needs some cash, and Eddie's pockets are as empty as a black hole. Still, he's ready to roll up his sleeves and dive into the deep end. Even if that means turning to his dad, Al Munson, who's conveniently resurfaced with another shady plan in his back pocket. Eddie knows it's a gamble, but it's his only shot at raising the money he needs. If it works out, he's finally scoring a VIP pass straight out of Hawkins. And now that we know how the story will go, let's tackle why. Stranger Things fans love Eddie Munson. It's no secret that our boy Quinn knocked it out as Eddie in Stranger Things Season 4. Schneiderhan talks about what made Eddie such a magnet to viewers. The Eddie Munson we meet at the beginning of Stranger Things 4 is the protective shepherd to the nerdy lost sheep of Hawkins High. But taking on that mantle wasn't such a cut-and-dry decision. She continued, "I'm so excited for fans to go with him on this journey towards becoming a hero, to experience the messy and uncomfortable decisions that led him to become the brave misfit we all know and love." Schneiderhan gushes, "Eddie is a person who is unfailingly, unapologetically himself, which is irresistible enough on its own. But add on the fact that he encourages the people around him to be the same? Who wouldn't want to be friends with that guy?" But the question is, how did Eddie become this so authentic? Well, the key players from Eddie's past, before the Hellfire Club spiraled into chaos, getting to know these folks from Eddie's past who sculpted him into the dude we know was a real thrill while crafting this story, the writer reveals. Schneiderhan really wants us to grasp how these old pals molded Eddie into the superstar we see on screen, which is a prime highlight of the book. "I can't wait for you guys to meet them too," she excitedly adds, wrapping up with, "This one's for you, Eddie." Flight of Icarus is a real treat in store for fans, a key to unlock all those burning questions that couldn't squeeze into the main season storyline. But despite the exciting news about the novel, it's a real downer that Eddie had to take an early exit. He was more than just a sidekick or a plot tool or the rebel who swoops in to save the day. He deserved more screen time and definitely more than just one season. Will Eddie Munson return in Stranger Things Season 5? Some diehard fans even hope for Eddie's miraculous return in the show's final season. But don't hold your breath. As executive producer Sean Levy previously stated, the number of fans who can't bear the thought of a Season 5 without Eddie is staggering. Levy added, "Highly unlikely, folks. Highly unlikely. But we hear you, fans. We know. You're hooked on Eddie. So are we. And hey, you know what? As we inch closer to the grand finale of our beloved show, you're probably wondering if we'll see Eddie in Season 5, right? Well, Quinn gave the crowd a bit of a heartbreaker. While he gave anything to return, it doesn't look too promising. Here's what he said. "They're gearing up for shooting. I don't know. I'd love to be a part of it again, but I died, didn't I? So it's probably a long shot. That's the plain truth. But let's be honest, Eddie would have a tough time grabbing the spotlight from Eleven, played by Millie Bobby Brown, and Mike, played by Finn Wolfhard. Plus, his prequel, Flight of the Icarus, might weave some extra threads into the Stranger Things universe. Speaking of expansion, we've got a fresh animated project coming up, geared up to be your new Saturday morning cartoon fix, and we have an upcoming video about it, so stay tuned. As for Joe Quinn, well, he wasn't exactly losing his marbles on the daily. Doesn't feel like I'm caught in the storm or at the epicenter of it all, he spills to Tadum. I don't know, it's freaking bizarre, but it's awesome. On the flip side, the upcoming novel is a fantastic chance for fans to rekindle their bond with Eddie. But why does Eddie Munson have a huge impact on us? Why Eddie's Stranger Things return shouldn't happen. Despite the writing on the wall, Eddie's death left viewers heartbroken. This sparked calls for his return in Season 5 and the wild theories about Eddie becoming a henchman for Vecna to make it happen. Quinn has finally addressed the chatter about a potential Stranger Things Eddie comeback, although others have weighed in previously. Maya Hawke sympathized with fans hoping for Eddie's return, but cautioned that constantly resurrecting dead characters might bore the viewers. Despite all the buzz, the truth is an Eddie comeback could injure both the show and his character. Millie Bobby Brown famously slammed the series for not killing off enough characters. The show's creators, the Duffer brothers, shot back, saying Stranger Things wasn't a murder spree like Game of Thrones. Interestingly, many fans sided with Brown, feeling that Hopper's survival in Season 3 and Max's in Season 4 weakened the show's stakes. The charm of Eddie. There was something truly irresistible about Eddie. Maybe it was his rocker look or his nerd-turned-cool persona. Whatever the magic was, Eddie took the Stranger Things world and the World Wide Web by storm. But every season of our beloved show has its sacrificial lamb. The new face destined to die or wreak havoc and then die. Take Bob, Sean Astin, Billy, Dacre Montgomery, and Alexei, Alec Utkoff as examples. Each one dropped into the narrative only to be chewed up and spat out by the season's resident evil. From the get-go of Season 4, it seemed clear Eddie was heading down the same unfortunate path, much against our wishes. His death scene was absolutely iconic, ripping into Metallica's Master of Puppets to distract the enemy and buy time for his buddies. Sure, it broke our hearts, but he did go out like a true hero. For his sacrifice, Eddie deserves nothing but respect. Love him or hate him, Eddie brought a unique twist to the show and struck up some epic friendships, especially with Dustin, Gaten Matarazzo. He even formed a sweet bond with Chrissy, Grace Van Dien, in her brief time on the scene. Eddie was charming and charismatic, blending in perfectly with our familiar gang. It was like he'd been part of the story from day one. His grungy vibe and loner lifestyle added an interesting layer to the group, letting him carve out a niche among our favorite Stranger Kids. How about you? Are you one of Eddie's fans? What do you think about his own prequel? Do you believe that this will be freaking good? Leave your opinion in the comment section below and let's keep the conversation going.